Good morning, 2A. I hope you all had a wonderful April vacation and you were able to relax and maybe find some time to do some things other than some schoolwork. So, today in math, we are going to continue to talk about area. And we talked about area before break, so I'm going to share our vocab card so we can review what area is. So, a reminder, let me find it, there it is, that area is the inside measurement of a figure in square units. So, we measure the inside of a shape in square units most of the time. Before break, we took practice doing it with triangles and rhombuses, and now we're going to move on to squares. Squares are what you're most likely to see when you are seeing measurements of area. So I can look at the inside of my shape and know how many squares inside is the area. So this is used often in gardening, or if people are building a house or a room and they want to know how much furniture, they might need to know the area of their house or of a room to figure out how much furniture they can fit. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you my online Geoboard, and we're going to use that to help us figure out some area. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to start sharing this, which is not the right one, but we got our Geoboard here. So on our Geoboard, you'll notice I already drew some shapes, and I have this square at the bottom. So when we measure area, we know that each square is made up of a 4-peg square, is what we call it. So this is the smallest square we can make on a Geoboard. And a 4-peg square is 1 unit of measurement. So what I'm going to do to figure out the area of these two shapes, I'm going to do one at a time. But first, I'm going to divide this up into squares. So I want to make it a square. So I already know this is 1 square unit. And I can do this by hand by stretching them. So I got 2 square units, and then I can close this to make 3 square units. Now that took me a little bit of time. So the other thing you can do is you could count where the square would be. If you have a good imagination and you're good at visualizing things, then this might be something for you. Or you might need to either stretch them on the virtual Geoboard, or your activity today is going to be drawing. It's a worksheet, so if you can print it, you can always draw in the squares on that Geoboard as well. So on this, I already know I have 3, so I know that this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this square here is 9 units. So I'm going to write that down over here. I'm going to write 9 units. A little hard to write with the mouse. Okay. And now you'll notice over here is a different shape. It kind of looks like a house. Now for this one, I'm going to do some bigger squares. Oops, I don't want a yellow one. It's very hard to put them where I want them. There we go. So as you can see, I'm using bigger lines to separate my shape into squares so it doesn't take me as long. Okay, so I know that the bottom part of this house is 4 units, but this top part isn't a square. But I want to know the whole house. I don't want to know what just the bottom is. So in order to figure this out, I'm going to divide it into triangles. And you'll notice I have it in triangles now. Now let's look down here at our one little square. If I took a rubber band and I divided this in half like this, it's 2 triangles. So on here, how many triangles make a square? 2 triangles make a square, 2 of these little ones. So I know that if I took this piece and if I could move it and put it over here, it would fit here and it would make 1 square. So I could put these together to make 1 triangle or 1 square. 2 triangles, 1 square. So the area of this house would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then together this would make 5. So the area of this house would be 5 units. So this is what your activity is going to be today. So I am going to share that screen with you. So this is your activity for today. It's called If the 4-Peg Square is Worth 1. On the grid that I shared with families for all the activities for the week, and on Dojo, you'll probably notice it's just called 4-Peg Square. This is just a very long title. So it shows you up here that each one of these 4 peg squares is equal to 1 area of unit. And your job is going to be to figure out the area of these different shapes. So you'll notice we have some easier ones like these squares, a rectangle, these stairs in the L1 aren't too bad because you can draw in the squares with a pencil. Or if you need to do it on a separate piece of paper, you can just count the sections. And then we get down to these 3 at the bottom, which are a little trickier. You'll notice that this one has some triangles, so you're gonna have to combine those. And same with this triangle, it has some triangles on the end. And then same with the octagon here. So your job is going to be to figure out the area of these shapes and write it next to each shape or on a separate piece of paper. If you have any questions or any problems, send me a dojo message, send me a email, and I will help you out. So I hope everyone enjoys this math lesson today, and I will see you soon.